Good morning, Storytime friends. Today we're taking another field trip for a zoo story time. I was in Louisiana last month and I took a trip to the zoo to take some film of the cool animals that they have there to share them with you guys. So let's take a look together and see what we can find. Here we are at the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans, Louisiana. As you can see, the temperature and the climate is a little bit different than Colorado. It's a lot hotter and muggier. But I think a lot of the animals that live here like that climate a little bit better. As you can see, there's a lot of nice pretty fountains, trees, and all kinds of gardens all throughout the zoo. There's also some animals like turtles, raccoons, and these guys. I don't even remember what they're called. They look like Dr. Seuss drawings, don't they? What other kind of animals do you think we'll find in here?
All those animals, that's so fun. I love going to the zoo, which is the title of this book. This is a song and a story. It was written by Tom Paxton and Karen Lee Schmidt, drew the pictures in this. Daddy's taking us to the zoo tomorrow, zoo tomorrow, zoo tomorrow. Daddy's taking us to the zoo tomorrow. We can't stay all day. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. How about you, you, you? You can come too, too, too. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. See the elephants with the long trunk swinging, great big ears and the long trunk swinging, sniffing up peanuts with their long trunk swinging. We can stay all day. See all the monkeys scritch, scritch, scratching, jumping all around and scritch, scritch, scratching, hanging by their long tails, scritch, scritch, scratching. We can stay all day. Big black bear is a huff, huff, a puffin', coat's too heavy, he's huff, huff, a puffin'. Don't get too near the huff, huff, a puffin', or you won't stay all day. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. How about you, you, you? You can come too, too, too. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. Kangaroo is a hop, hop, a hoppin', long tail is a flop, flop, floppin'. Baby in the pouch is hop, hop, hoppin'. We can stay all day. Seals in the pool, clap, clap, clappin', catchin' fish and clap, clap, clappin', bouncing the ball and clap, clap, clappin'. We can stay all day. What's that sound? Lion is a roaring, time to eat. Lion is a roaring, now lazy Mr. Lion is a snoring. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. How about you, you, you? You can come too, too, too. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. Birds in the birdhouse chirp, chirp, a-cheepin', flying in circles and chirpin' and a-cheepin'. Mr. Owl is quietly sleepin'. We can stay all day. We stayed all day and we're getting sleepy, sitting in the back, sleep, 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 sleepy. Home already and we're really sleepy. We have stayed all day. We've been to the zoo, 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 so have you, you came too, too, too. We've been to the zoo, zoo, zoo. Oh, look, Mama's taking us to the zoo tomorrow, zoo tomorrow, zoo tomorrow. Mama's taking us to the zoo tomorrow. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. How about you? You can come too, too. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. The end.
Can you try and guess what kind of animals these are? They look familiar to an animal that we see in Estes Park all the time, but they're just cousins. What kind of animal are they, I wonder? Or these guys? They look a little familiar, don't they? I bet you can guess what sound they make. Or these guys? I bet they look a little more familiar, don't they? You may have seen them in one of our rivers up here. Now, these guys are definitely not native to Colorado. They like to live near the coast where they can go swimming. And they like to have fun. Do you know what they're called?
That's a mama and a baby. That's a little one. There's a little one.
Here's some animals that are native to Africa. They would all be hanging out together like this normally, so the zoo has put them together. Ooh, I bet you can name that animal. Oh, what about that guy in the back?
You see a zebra?
How many animals did you guess?
Zebra!
Here's a Zoom rhyme. I'm wondering if you can listen to my voice and guess what animal this is. What will you see at the zoo? Listen closely and I'll give you a clue. They are big and they are gray, and their trunks swing and sway. What are they? Did you guess an elephant? If you did, you're right. Here's our next one. They are sort of like a horse, except for they are black and white stripes, of course. What are they? Did you know? Zebras. Okay, here's a new one. These animals bark and they are colored gray. They have flippers and swim all day. What are they? Do you know? Seals. How about this one? These birds can't fly and they look funny. They are black all over except for a white tummy. What are they? You're right if you said a penguin. How about this animal? Bananas are their favorite thing and they chatter and like to swing. What are they? Monkeys, of course. How about this one? They are kind of like a cat, but they have a mane and roar like that. What are they? Do you know? Yep, they're lions. How about this one? They have tails that look like a fan. These birds strut around looking grand. What are they? Do you know what has a tail that looks like a fan? A peacock. That's woohoo. Okay, these animals like to hop around. A tummy pouch is where their babies can be found. What are they? If you thought a kangaroo, you're right. Okay, I just have one more left. If they are necks that are, I don't think this is good. Okay, I'm going to cut this part out just so you guys know. Here's the next one. Their necks, that's not right. Their necks, probably. It's probably just a typo. Okay. Their necks are long, long, long. If you guessed a turtle, you are wrong, wrong, wrong. What are they? What has a really super long neck? You're right. It's a giraffe. This is what you'll see at the zoo. I'd like to go. Wouldn't you?
How many animals were you able to guess? You know, there's so many different animals at the zoo. It's kind of hard to keep track of them sometimes. You might even find some animals there that you didn't know about before. But did you ever think about what if you went to the zoo to see the animals, but the animals didn't want to see you? Is that even possible? Let's check out this book. This book is called Animal Strike at the Zoo. It's True by Karma Wilson and illustrated by Margaret Spengler. I quit. There's an animal strike at the zoo. It's true. The headlines are telling it all. The animals quit. That's it. We're through, say all critters, from biggest to small. We're paid only in peanuts, the elephants shout. And goodness, we're bigger than that. So now they won't trumpet or lumber about. They sit in the shade, looking fat. The monkeys won't monkey around anymore. You won't see us climbing again. They wallow like big monkey lumps on the floor. We want a nice pool in our pen. That would be nice to have a pool in your pen. The leopards aren't prowling. The wolf packs aren't howling. The tigers aren't growling. The otters are scowling. Egad! The worst has come true. There's an animal strike at the zoo. The zebras are looking like horses today. They painted their stripes in, you see. We're all sick and tired of eating this hay. Our good looks do not come for free. Those silly giraffes are not any better. You won't see our necks anymore. They're knitting themselves lots of turtleneck sweaters, which go from their heads to the floor. Business these days is as slow as can be. Folks go to the circus instead. Nobody wants to pay money to see the animals lying in bed. The lions aren't roaring. The eagles aren't soaring. The penguins are snoring. It's all rather boring. What can the zookeeper do? There's an animal strike at the zoo. He really is doing the best that he can. The elephants all got a raise. Instead of just peanuts, they now eat pecans. And he offered them 6-hour days. The monkeys were given a small kiddie pool, and he's feeding the zebras sweet oats. But the monkeys complain that the water is cool, and the zebras demand root beer floats. Then, in through the gate walks sweet little Sue. She just can't believe that she's here. She's always wanted to come to the zoo, and she's begged for this trip this year. But no birdies are peeping. No lizards are creeping. No bunnies are leaping. Then poor Sue starts weeping. Her heart is broken in two by the animal strike at the zoo. As tears start to streak down her cute rosy face, the animals watch that wee child. A deep hush of sadness falls over the place. And then they go totally wild. With roaring and peeping and howling and growling, all critters from biggest to small start soaring and creeping and leaping and prowling. Then little Sue laughs at them all. And all of the animals find out that day they actually like what they do. The zookeeper calls the reporters to say, "Hooray! No more strike at the zoo." You see what kind of phone the zookeeper has? That's a cute phone. But the bear at the circus won't pedal his bike. Uh-oh, he says he's on strike. Looks like a different kind of animal strike, huh? Now let's take a look at some monkeys. But these aren't monkeys, these are apes. Do you know what they're called? They're called orangutans. They have this whole big jungle gym all to themselves. Orangutans like to climb using their feet like their hands. Can you see that guy? What's he bringing with him? Is that a blanket or a pillow? Whoa, there he goes. Must be fun to swing around like that. Now let's visit Tommy the giraffe. Tommy gets this whole area all to himself. And he's a big guy. But he does have a roommate. This little fella over here. As you can see, he's got plenty to eat.
Wow, all those animals, it's like a big adventure, which reminds me of a story about a little mouse who goes on adventure too. Can I Come Too? A story by Brian Patton and Nicola Bailey drew the pictures. A very small mouse decided she wanted to have a very big adventure. I'll go and find the biggest creature in the world, she thought. By the lake, the mouse met a frog. Are you the biggest creature in the world? She asked. No, said the frog, but it is very brave of you to look for it. Can I come too? Of course, said the mouse. Just because we are small doesn't mean we can't have a big adventure. On a branch overhanging the river, they met a bird made out of rainbows. It was a kingfisher. Are you the biggest creature in the world? The mouse asked. I'm a rather small bird, he said, but I'd love to see what the biggest creature is. Can I come too? Dozing on a wall in the sunlight was a cat. Have you seen the biggest creature in the world? The mouse asked. The cat opened an eye and said, No, but I'm curious to see it. I'll come too. They met an otter on the riverbank, where the wildflowers grew. Perhaps you are the biggest creature in the world, said the mouse. I'm afraid not, said the otter, but I wonder what is. Can I come too? In the woods, where everything glowed with the green light, they met a badger. Are you the biggest creature in the world? The mouse asked. His legs are far too short to belong to the biggest creature, sniffed the cat. But I'd love to see what is, said the badger. Can I come too? They crossed a little bridge in a small valley full of tiny things. Dragonflies darted around, lizards lazed on the stones, and a water vole washed his whiskers at the river's edge. But they saw nothing big. So on they went. When they met a dog, the mouse asked, "Are you the biggest creature in the world?" The cat said, "He's the scruffiest creature, but he's certainly not the biggest." The dog said, "I wonder what on earth is. Can I come too?" Halfway up the mountainside, they met a goat. "Have you seen the biggest creature in the world?" asked the mouse. "No, but I can see some very large creatures from up here in this tree," she said. "Well, we're looking for the biggest of them all," said the mouse. The goat said, "Can I come too?" In the zoo, they met a tiger. Her paws were as big as frying pans. "You're the most fantastic creature in the world," declared the mouse. "Perhaps you're also the biggest." "Oh, I'm not the biggest," said the tiger. "If I promise not to eat anyone, can I come too?" The polar bear followed them out of the zoo. His coat was as white as snow. "I believe the biggest creature in the world lives in the ocean, where the river ends," he said. "I'd love to see it. Can I come too?" So off they went. The mouse, the frog, the kingfisher, the cat, the otter, the badger, the dog, the goat, the tiger, and the polar bear followed the river to the ocean. The mouse was very excited. "I wonder what we're going to see," she thought. The biggest creature was something as big as an island, something bigger than 1,000,000 mice. Seagulls flew above it. Dolphins leapt around it. It was a whale. The animals watched until the whale plunged back beneath the waves. Then night fell, and all the sleepy creatures decided it was time to go back home. "We would never have seen such a wonderful thing without you," they all said to the little mouse. And the little mouse said, "Meeting you has been a very big part of the adventure. I'm so glad you all could come too." The mouse was so happy to have seen the biggest creature in the world. And that night she thought to herself, "I might be tiny, but I've had a very big adventure." And then she curled up into a little ball and fell fast asleep. And that is the end.
Now let's look at some reptiles and birds. This lizard is called the Komodo dragon, and it lives in only one place on the entire planet. Whoa, he's opening his mouth. He must be hungry. Let's get out of here. This snake has a really cool pattern on his body. And at the end of the tail, he's got a little rattle that he shakes to let people know that he means business. Do you know what he's called? There it is. This is a white alligator. They're very rare. He sure is big. I wonder what makes them white like that. He's a real good swimmer, too. Here is a flock of flamingos.
Their colors are so bright. What color is that?
That's a stork.
This bird is a stork. Or is it an egret? Or is it a crane? This bird is one of the most colorful birds in the world. It's a macaw.
Do you ever wonder why animals are so colorful? Birds are some of the most colorful animals that there are out there. Their feathers get so cool and colorful because of their diet. So like tropical birds that live in big jungle, tropical environments, the stuff that they're eating is colorful, so it makes their feathers colorful. But in the old days, we didn't have scientific explanations for those things, so people had to come up with legends and myths and folk tales to explain things. So let's take a look at one of those books together. This book is called How the Finch Got His Colors. It's retold by Anne-Marie Riley Guertin and illustrated by Helena Perez Garcia. So this must be an old folk tale that was adapted. Many years ago, before the world bloomed in magnificent colors, the earth lay stark and gray. The animals that graced its skies and roamed its lands were the colors of dirt, clay, and stone. To prepare earth for its awakening, a great rain fell upon the land. It rained for many days and nights. On the 11th day, as if by magic, the rain stopped. As the clouds gave way, the animals looked up to see a rainbow peering down at them. So many colors in that rainbow. Awestruck, the animals watched as the bow of light bent toward the earth. As Rainbow shimmered down, she turned everything in her path into bright, bold colors. The fish in the ocean waters glinted, silver, violet, and aquamarine. The yellow duck paddled in the sapphire blue of the pond, and the red fox scurried through the amber forest. Gazing upon the beauty below him, Great Bird, ruler of the bird kingdom, called out to Rainbow. He was tired of his stone-gray feathers and wished to be a beautiful color. Rainbow agreed, and with one swift kiss, she turned Great Bird from gray to shimmering gold. The other birds gathered around, and they began to beg and plead for colors of their own. Please, Rainbow, we want to be as beautiful as the other animals. Please give us color too. Hearing their cries, Rainbow agreed. Great Bird called the birds together and lined them up. The birds chirped and chattered, worried that all of Rainbow's colors would be taken. Fearing he'd be last, Parrot, the loudest of all the birds, pushed his way to the front of the line. Green! Make me green! He called out in his screechy voice. Green like the frog that leaps in the pond. I want to be green like the rolling hills below, and green like the cactus, so spectacular against the barren desert. Those are all green things. And with one swift kiss from Rainbow, Parrot shimmered like an emerald. One by one, Rainbow gave color to each of the birds. Cardinal, a vibrant red, like the fire's flame. Blue Jay, a shadowy blue, like the ocean's hidden depths. And Canary, a brilliant yellow like the sun's dawning rays. Rainbow worked hard to please the birds. Soon the world below her and the skies around her gleamed with the magnificent colors she'd once had. But Rainbow began to grow weary from her hard work. Her colors began to dim until, finally, every last drop of color had been used. Oh, look at all the colorful birds. But Rainbow's fading away. As the birds took flight, Great Bird noticed one small gray bird standing before him. "Come forward, little Gouldian Finch," he said. "Why are you still the color of stone? Do you not wish for a color of your own?" Finch hung his head. "Oh, Great Bird, I waited patiently for my turn, and now all the colors have been chosen. I fear I will be gray forever." Tears began to stream down Finch's cheeks. Great Bird paused for a moment, thinking about Finch's words. He gazed at the beautiful birds around him and said, "Little Gouldian Finch sat patiently, awaiting his turn. We all shouted and begged to get what we desired. Now there is no color left for him." The other birds felt sad for their finch friend. They chirped and tweeted until one of them piped up, "How can we right this wrong?" No sooner had the words been spoken than Rainbow bent down and gathered a splash of color from each of the birds. With one swift kiss, Rainbow worked her magic. When Finch opened his eyes, he looked down in astonishment. His once gray feathers sparkled brilliantly with every color of the rainbow. And legend has it that from that moment on, the Gouldian Finch became known as the most beautiful bird in the world. The end. Here are some facts about the Gouldian Finch. Maybe there's a Gouldian Finch at a zoo near us. Well, it's been such a long day, the animals are getting tired. Looks like the elephant started taking a nap. And the tiger, too. Oh. And this leopard. He can barely keep his eyes open. Looks like the black bear's ready for hibernation. And the jaguar's asleep, too. Ooh, well, it's been a long day. Maybe we should take a cue from these animals and head home ourselves.
Oh, that was a long day at the zoo. I'm getting kind of sleepy just like those animals. Might be close to my nap time. Well, friends, until next time, we'll see you later.